Desmond Tutu was asked to teach at Emory University. He was there for a year on sabbatical. They asked if he'd teach a class. He agreed to teach one course in the theology school, but he put limits on it. He said, I don't want academics. I want people who are going into the ministry, and I want those students who are in their final year of study who will be leading churches the following year. The limits were placed. The class was called God's Love. And these students, many of them who'd been in school their whole lives, show up, and Tutu gets up and he's talking about the course, but he notices that people are restless. He's very attentive to an audience, and the students in the class are kind of looking around, and so he stops and says, I notice people are looking around. Have I forgotten something? And someone raises their hand and say, yeah, where's the syllabus? Like, what are we supposed to read, or their tests? And he goes, okay. There's no reading, there's no exams, there's no papers. In fact, what I thought I'm just going to do is just give everybody an A. And this really does not sit well. He sees even more restlessness because this sounds like communism. We don't do that here. We don't give. And he notices the people are upset, and he says, hey, listen, God has very low standards, so everybody gets an A. He said, here's what we're going to do in this class. All we're going to do is I'm going to tell you stories of when I encountered and experienced God's love. And then I'm going to invite you to tell stories, to remember and recollect moments where you encountered and experienced and knew God's love. Because this is why we're doing this. He says, I know you've studied biblical doctrine. I know you've taken exams in theology and preaching and hermeneutics. But he said, if you leave this seminary and you don't know God's love in the marrow of your bones, you leave here with nothing. You leave here with nothing. Your power, your gift, your authority is that down in the marrow of your bones, you have encountered and experienced the wonder of God. You know what it means to be free, to be free, to be fully alive. You're a connoisseur of life. You know what it means to be alive. That's why there's humor here. That's why there's playfulness here. That's why there's praise and stories and music and prayer. All the capacities of the human being are invited into this place because that's who we are. We're living human beings who carry the image of God. And that's your gift that you bring to young people.